That was New York City Song by Tanya Tucker off her album Delta Dawn. And Ryan, how old is Tanya Tucker in that song?
13.
Wow.
That is insane. Ryan was giving us like a bunch of Tanya Tucker trivia while we were trying to listen to the song, so we barely heard it because he talked over the time.
Sorry.
But he was actually, there was some New York slander going on, right? Well,
there was, yeah. And Ryan, I wanted to ask you something.
Slander?
Are you anti-New York? And it's okay if you are, just tell us
Just explain yourself.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong, but you can go ahead.
Wait, where did you hear slander? What did I say?
I think you got some like LA pride going on. I mean, I won't mention your former band name, but
Okay. So New York for me is I feel like I can't get a fucking second in New York. Like,
that's the whole thing.
That's the point.
That's the whole fucking point.
I know. And so, so I'm not telling you you're wrong if you love that feeling. I don't like that feeling. That makes me anxious.
If you feel boxed in, it feels like it's always
I feel claustrophobic. I feel like
pushing on you, right?
I feel like I want to hide behind a dumpster and cry.
Well, that's why I do that. That's what people do. But also, listen, I totally understand that feeling, and you're right. And it's a very prominent feeling. But on the good days, that's a very inspiring feeling. And it feels like something.
Explain that to me.
It feels like, okay, I'm in this city surrounded by people that look like me and are doing the same shit that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I better do it really well, or else, you got to do something to kind of.
You have that in LA too. You'll go down the street and you'll see like a billboard of someone and you'll be like, damn it, like I need to do better. Like,
but that's the problem is that
creative
in LA,
pressure exists here.
In LA, you'd see a billboard of someone you know. In New York, you walk by someone you know. You know what I mean? Like that's for me at least, was that when I lived in LA, and granted, I was young and I was just getting started. I'm sure it'd be different in my 30s, but I never felt the human interaction, unless it's planned or unless you're going to a certain place. But in New York, you walk outside. My walk to work is 15, 20 minutes.
Says the guy that said music exists completely online.
That's just a fact. I wish it didn't.
So then what does it matter if you run into them?
Well, because my point is when I leave my house in New York and I walk 15, 20 minutes, I'll walk by 100 people at least usually, Whereas in LA, I can go about my whole day. I can drive miles and miles and I'll end up walking by maybe 100 people total.
Yeah, this feels like a personality test.
And it's something about the energy that people give off. You know what I mean? That's why when you're in a crowd hearing the music, it sounds different.
I have extroverted energy, for sure. I love people. I love being around people. And I get what you're saying about that like being around people all the time is great. I just think it just reminds me of a personality test. There's no way for me to be like, here is why LA is better. I can only tell you, here's why LA is better for me. And that means that I don't walk past 100 people every second, or else I'd lose my mind. There
is no right answer. Yeah, there's no right answer because it does generate that amount of energy generates anxiety 100%, right?
Yeah.
You grew up in Philly though, so you grew up on the East Coast, right? No,
cities were always. I'm a burbs kid. Cities were.
Gotcha.
I lived right outside New York City in North Jersey. I lived right outside of Philadelphia in Bryn Mawr. So it was always like, we would go, into the city to do our sports games, or we'd go into the city to go to the museums. We'd go into the city to visit a couple of friends who actually did live in this, but it was in my life, but I wasn't around the energy nonstop. And the idea of like being in my bed and hearing and feeling that energy all around me while I need to try to relax. It's making me anxious right now.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice. The thing is, what's so funny is to me, like when I go somewhere where there's nothing going on at night, I'm like, I got to put some sort of fan on or something. I need to hear like a buzz. I got to hear something, you know what I mean? Which that's also a problem in itself. Look, this was called New York City Song, and that's what got us off on the tangent. But why did you pick New York City Song? And more importantly, how did you discover this song? When was the first time you heard it? Who introduced you to it? That kind of stuff.
Well, I had this kind of awakening probably like 5 or 6 years ago, where I realized that like I'd always identified with the fact that I don't like country music. It represented something that I didn't want to identify with. Growing up, like the country music fans in my life, like I didn't like those people, and I felt like very like very intimidated by that culture, and very like it was like misogynistic and was kind of creepy and racist, and like I don't know, it just represented something to me. I didn't think that and also sounded bad. Like the music, I didn't like the music, modern country. Then like 5 or 6 years ago, I realized, oh, like classic country, like 70s, early 70s country, there's really not that much difference than like soul records of that generation or rock records of that generation. Like the step between Crosby, Stills and Nash and Grateful Dead to Chris Christopherson or Willie Nelson is like not a far step at all when it comes to, you know, the rock tradition. So it opened up basically this entire new genre for me, which was country music from the 70s. So I found Tanya that way, and it is with, you can kind of hear it. It's kind of like with a soul band. Like you can hear like all the like Stax Motown like tricks on like the wah guitar, and like it's such a tight band behind it, and the production is so incredible. And I thought it was funny that she was 13 too. But the song's about like, yeah, how she's like a Nashville girl. And she's like, I don't know no New York City song. Like, I don't feel comfortable here. So it is kind of a little bit of a fuck you guys. Yeah. I picked it to be like, yeah, I hate all of you. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Wait, when did you discover it again?
Probably 5 or 6 years ago.
That's wild. And did someone introduce you to it, or you just kind of stumbled on it?
No, I think I like got into, I think I like rediscovered the Grateful Dead. Then was really into like Neil and really into like Crosby and Nash solo records from the early 70s. Then like really got into pedal steel and that texture. Then that led me to country. You know, then it was Flying Burrito Brothers and like, you know, the Graham Parsons stuff. Then it was like Christopherson and Willie and you know, Rita and Tanya, and yeah, it just blew my mind that there was all this music waiting for me. And I think that's going to happen to all of us again too. It's like, oh fuck. And I realized there was this thing that happened. Like, I got to check it out, and then it just opens your mind.
I imagine it had an impact on the new album, right?
Oh, there's some country textures on my new album. Absolutely.
Shit, boy. You got some country textures? All right, man.
We went down to the Grove. We picked up a new pair of pants from J. Crew.
I heard you recorded it in Jacksonville, Florida.
We go over to York Boulevard and Highland Park all the time. We love all the hip spots. Big Bud Press.
Yeah, we recorded it at Sherman Oaks. Look, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I mean, that's basically it. Your album Stars is coming out December 10th on Forged Artifacts. People can probably just Google Ryan Pollie Stars and find it, and they can pre-order it. They can do as they wish. Do you have any plans to tour on that, or what do you got coming up with that?
Yeah, we'll see. If there's anybody in a band that needs a support slot that's listening to this podcast, I'm around. I'm ready to go. Go.
Rounds of Sound has become the
You're my
Ryan Pollie
agent.
tour manager, booking agent.
Yeah,
also.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice, we got this. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
And everyone, and you know, Will, thank you for co-hosting.
Thank you so much, Will.
Any damn time.
And you know, who knows? Maybe next week we'll host by himself. We'll see what happens. But for now, if you're listening, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you tune in next week, because we're going to have another great episode coming your way. Thank you so much, and see you later.